Oh boy. Oh boy. You guys got to pardon me here on the live stream as I'm cleaning the glasses off because sweating. Sweating. That was a heck of a football game between Texas and Ohio State. A lot to talk about in this game. First of all, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys subscribe, like the video if you like the video, and comment down below. And if you are here in the live stream throughout the offseason, I plan on doing more live streams to discuss college football to try to boost the interaction with you guys, especially with the TikTok, probably not being available in the United States on January 19th. We are going to have to move on from TikTok, which means a lot more YouTube stuff, maybe some other stuff that I got to figure out as far as social media goes, because TikTok is definitely my biggest growth. But if you guys can help the YouTube grow, I would really appreciate it, especially if you like this. The more that you guys do invest in this, the more I can invest in it to make the product better. So if we want to make the product better over here, so that way it's higher quality content, and you want to be a part of that, all you got to do is click the like button, subscribe, show that growth for me. I would really appreciate that. So a lot of people that are a little bit more casual to college football will see the stat line and see the points that Ohio State put up and think, wow, Ohio State really didn't show up the same way they did against Tennessee and Oregon. I would disagree. So first off, against Tennessee and Oregon, Ohio State started with the football. They won the toss and elected to defer in this one. So Ohio State ended up starting on defense, and they end up getting a stop after a couple of moves by Texas. Texas early on moved the ball within the 50 to 35-yard line range, and then Texas ends up going for it on fourth down after a conservative call by Sark early in the game. In my opinion, I don't think against that defensive front, you should have went conservative there and set up for a fourth down, in which Ohio State has done pretty well in. Ohio State gets the stop on third down, gets the stop on fourth down as Cody Simon breaks up a pass intended for DeAndre Moore. Then they get the ball, and because of Texas's philosophy, playing more of a Michigan type of philosophy, they move the ball slower down the field, but they still start out fast the same way that they started fast. Ohio State gets down the field. They use Emeka Egbuka a lot in the first drive, and he really didn't show up too much after that point. It was really a Carnell Tate night beyond that point. And then you had Ohio State finish the drive, punctuated with Quinshon Judkins. So Quinshon Judkins punches it in. Ohio State starts off 7-0, and then Texas has a similar drive going, a nice screen to Ryan Wingo that ends up getting a nice play, and they get it in between that 50 and 35-yard line, and they stall out. They stalled out in part because of a Cameron Williams holding, but also struggles within pass protection. The defensive line of Ohio State really showed up at that late first quarter, early second quarter portion of the game. But the Texas goal was to be able to withstand that fast start, and that's what they were able to do. Ohio State got the ball moving again. What's up, Bentley? How you doing over here? Bentley, hey, can I get a shout out? You got it, man. Bentley Matthias. How you doing? So after after that drive stalls out and JTT ends up getting 2 sacks for Ohio State, LSU is better, not trying to be mean. Well, they're not here. They're not here. I can't wait to talk about LSU in the offseason. I think they're making a lot of good moves for sure. But the thing that stalled the Ohio State drive when they got the ball moving, the 2 running back creativity was beautiful with Quinshon Judkins leading block, explosive run for Travion Henderson. My gosh, I'm all over the place right now. It's just such a crazy feeling right now. You might be talking about 2019 LSU, by the way. 2019 LSU is indeed better. I will give you that. But the Henderson unsportsmanlike penalty is what really killed the Ohio State drive and made them punt, and that's where Texas was able to settle into the game. electric punt return fumbled by Bolden, but generally speaking, it was kind of like a back and forth. Defense is starting to show up in the second quarter, and then Texas establishes that nice drive, moving the ball down the field, a couple of crucial third down conversions and a fourth down conversion. Arch Manning comes into the game, and when Arch Manning came into the game, they used a lot of creativity there where they had Gunnar Helm line up for a QB sneak, and they snapped it between the legs of Gunnar Helm and right to Arch Manning, who took it on a little QB sweep, and they end up punching the ball in, finding Jaden Blue, not punching the ball in, but finding Jaden Blue on a wheel route. The running backs, not seldomly used. When you combine the three running backs that have been used in the throw game, Trey Wisner, Jaden Blue, and occasionally Jarrett Gibson, those three players combined for 78 receptions coming into this game. So it's not a shock that Jaden Blue and Trey Wisner were used quite often in the throw game. And the first Texas touchdown late in the second quarter was Jaden Blue on a wheel route. But Ohio State, with a beautiful response, when a lot of teams would mail it in and go to the half, they check it down to a screen, and it was very eerily similar to the way that Travion's first touchdown as a Buckeye went, where he had a screen off to the left side and 70-yard house call against Minnesota, followed his blocks, found a lane like a punt returner, and took it to the crib. If he doesn't score in the next game and that happens to be his last touchdown, that is just very ironic, I guess, or just like very coincidental that it was on a similar play, just essentially flipped to the other side of the field, 75 yards to the house, 14-7. And then when Ohio State comes out, they start to move the football, and this is really where the game changed in favor of, and Bentley, I'll answer your question here in a second. David Benda gets a huge interception when Will Howard tries to force it into Jeremiah Smith, who, I'm wearing Jeremiah's jersey, so shout out to Jeremiah. They had a great game plan against the Ohio State receivers. Emeka Egbuka was very much a non-factor after the first drive, or not a non-factor, but they took him away. They took away Jeremiah Smith the whole game, and this was an opportunity that they had to Jeremiah Smith that was forced. It was not an opportunity that was necessarily there, picked off by David Benda, but the Ohio State defense is able to respond and did that in a big way. And, the flip to Wisner later in the quarter on a third down, that was a big turning point in this game for Texas. Quinn Ewers is probably about 6 inches from being down, and he gets that ball off to Trey Wisner, and Trey Wisner takes it after the catch from third and long to a first down, which later led to another Jaden Blue wheel route touchdown in the throw game. The running backs in the throw game were quite amazing. And then it started to get a little bit worse, too, for Ohio State. You had Austin Seerveld have a terrible penalty, and it was terrible because it shouldn't have been called. It was a half second after the whistle. All he was trying to do was do what everybody does. When there's a little bit of a stalemate in a crowd, in a push, somebody comes in there and tries to pop somebody off the pile or try to push their running back. And in this case, he tried to get Andrew Makuba out of the pile to gain extra yards. It was a half second late, and they throw a soft flag. I don't like that. I feel like that's the refs taking it away. And then Texas got the run game going, tiring out the defensive line of Ohio State. But a big third down miss by Ewers to Matthew Golden, fresh off the bench off of his injury, that was a huge point in this game. And then when Ohio State got the ball back with bad field positioning, they start out the drive getting a call with a double move and they didn't call what probably should have been the pass interference, but they called a pass interference on Malik Muhammad on Emeka Egbuka. Ends up giving Ohio State a little bit of more comfort, not being backed up as deep in their own territory. So Ohio State gets moving down the field. And this last drive, Ohio State was behind the sticks all of the second half, and they were able to find a way to get the ball moving down the field, checking it down to Quinshon Judkins on a key play to move the sticks. G. Scott Jr. with a second effort to make it that 4th and short when Ohio State was moving the football, a key play in that drive that will be forgotten in this game was they dumped it off to G. Scott. They basically cleared out with 3 go routes with the trips wide receivers and had G. Scott on an underneath route. You see it in a video game all the time. It's simply a call called verticals. And all the DBs drop, and G. Scott Jr. comes underneath, and boom. They hit him, and the defense defends it pretty well. They meet him 5 yards short of the sticks, and a second effort by G. Scott gets them to a fourth and about 2.5 yards, in which Chip Kelly utilizes the QB run game, picks and chooses his times. In this moment, with trips off to the right side, they run QB power off to that right side. And if it weren't for a turf monster, Will Howard would have had the go-ahead touchdown, but they were able to kill a little bit more time using a little bit more red zone run game, and they got it going there. So Ohio State punches it in with Quinshon Judkins' second touchdown run of the game, and Ewers responds with a fantastic drive. He hits Gunnar Helm, getting the ball right over the hands of guys who have been batting passes, JTT and Jack Sawyer, right over the hands of JTT, and then getting Blue on the perimeter run for a first down. That was a big play. Helm, he was able to get a big play going, Gunnar Helm, and then had an unsportsmanlike penalty after he stiff-armed Caleb Downs to the ground. He pointed at him and got an unsportsmanlike penalty. I'll respond to your comments here in a second, Bentley, after I get through the game recap here. And then he hit that unsportsmanlike penalty, and sure enough, it moved them back a little bit, but they still were able to get a big play to get into the red zone to Matthew Golden, and then aided by a couple of pass interference penalties, Texas got down to the 1-yard line. Then the Ohio State defense ends up getting a big stop, a huge stop on a they tried to do a toss. That's what they did, a toss to the perimeter, and the DBs came in swarm. It was Caleb Downs, Latham Ransom, Jordan Hancock. They were all in there, dropped, I believe it was Wisner. It might have been Blue. I can't remember. And they stopped Jared Gibson on the first down run, stopped him like 6 yards back. And then a tip ball by Jack Sawyer, followed up by him lining up against Cameron Williams, who had a terrible, terrible night, allowed for 3 sacks, including that last strip sack, I believe, if I counted them correctly, and had a badly timed false start penalty in this game. He allows for Jack Sawyer to come off the edge, strip sack his former roommate, and poetically 87 yards strip sack to seal the game. Caleb Downs seals the game with an interception, and that's how we get to the final, 28-14, Ohio State. Takeaways for this game: Quinn Ewers put a pretty good game on tape. You can't punish him too much for that forced throw on that last drive, trying to make a play happen where Caleb Downs picked it off. He played great. This is a good defense, really good secondary that he put good tape on for NFL scouts to see, okay, he's closing it out. They're going to love his attitude. They're going to love his character that he has developed at Texas. For Quinn Ewers going forward, I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see Arch Manning with Texas, and we get to see this matchup again week 1 in Columbus. A rematch of the Cotton Bowl will be there next season. It was a fantastic game for Texas. I thought they played really well, and quite honestly, though they did not cover the spread, they kept it closer than a lot of people. And I think when a lot of people retroactively talk about that Penn State game, maybe Ohio State's goal line stand against Texas doesn't make Penn State look as bad. I tried to tell everybody this is just what Ohio State does. That won them the Nebraska game, won them the Penn State game, won them this game, and gave them a shot against Michigan when their offense wasn't doing anything. And it gave them a shot against Oregon. They made red zone stops. Ohio State has been doing this all season. Them doing it is just poetic to what they've been all season long on that defensive side of the ball. Bend, but don't break. If they do bend, and that's a big if, because sometimes they won't bend. But if they do bend, they do not break. They keep on going. And that's where I think the Ohio State Buckeyes can be super happy. And the thing, without getting too much into the weeds with the Notre Dame matchup, the thing that Notre Dame is going to present defensively that Texas didn't present is the fact that Notre Dame is a man-heavy defense. And I think when they watch this game, when they watch the Michigan game, maybe you see a change of philosophy in Al Golden. But given the fact that their identity is not playing zone, it's playing a whole lot more man, how well can Notre Dame execute that with about 9 days to prepare for that national championship? That is going to be the question that's going to be ringing in my head as we look into that game. But enough about that. That is the recap that I have for you. What a great victory for Ohio State. I'm going to go through these comments here. Who do I think is going to win the Super Bowl? The team I think is going to win the Super Bowl in my eyes is just, it's tough. But I got the Eagles winning the national Super Bowl. And I have them beating the Bills right now. But I really look at this playoff race. It is a tough race, man. It is a very, very tough race. And I'm excited to see what is going to happen in that ball game there, or in those ball games. Sorry, I'm doing some stuff trying to make the presentation here. Not the cheater, the Bills or the Lions. As a Bears fan, I really don't want to see the Lions win the Super Bowl. Hey, you say you're the only one listening trying to get my attention. Yeah, I'm hoping, number one, I can get some more talk after or more views and comments down below after this video is posted, after this live. I don't have a huge following. I have 260 subscribers or around there. So I don't have a huge following, but hey, man, you got to start somewhere, right? What state do you live in? I live in Ohio, and same with you. So that's pretty cool. And it was Ohio State. Ohio State won the game, in case you didn't see it. But there we go. Ohio State moves on. They're going to play Notre Dame in a Michigan nightmare of a national championship. But it's fine. Michigan fans are going to say that they beat Ohio State, and that's all fine and dandy. At the end of the day, new era of college football. If you're a Buckeye fan, you just have to decide whether or not you can live with a national championship with losing to Michigan, because that's now looking to be a reality. And before we get off here, I'm curious what the point spread might be against Notre Dame for Ohio State. 9.5. 9.5. I actually thought it would be 10.5 or 11.5, somewhere around there. Ended up being 9.5. So thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I'm going to have more live streams in the future, and hopefully I can get some activity in here. And we're looking to grow here on YouTube, because though I'm on TikTok, and I would recommend, while TikTok is still active, look me up, and it might end up coming back at some point if it does indeed go down on January 19th. But I'm looking to make YouTube grow a ton, since TikTok, I got over 2,000 followers over there, and it's just been going up and up through the football season. It hurts me for sure as a creator that has had the most success on TikTok, but you try to pivot and move on. I think I can be pretty good at this. So if you guys want to support, I would really appreciate a subscription, at the very least a like and a comment down below. Bentley, I really appreciate you coming in here to the live stream. Again, final score, Ohio State 28-14 beating Texas. I'll see you guys in the next video.